I think this has been one of the hardest decisions we've made as a council. We've heard people say this was a lazy way out. We had pages of different directions we could go. Every option had a pro and a con list. There was not any option that didn't have cons. And I'm not saying this decision we made to go this direction doesn't have some cons. It does, absolutely does. The problem we were trying to solve wasn't to make money. This isn't about making money. At the end of the day, there were too many people on the weekend, and it became an enforcement nightmare. It became a safety concern. We had to take steps to do something, but we're just hoping to solve that overcrowding issue.
Welcome to Herrimanology,
the official podcast to keep up with Herriman City.
We'll take you inside the city, explore the latest news and updates, show you how your government operates, and discuss the issues that affect us all. Now, here are your hosts talking all things Herriman on Herrimanology.
All right, welcome to Herrimanology. It is Thursday, March 21st, and we're about 4.5 hours into March Madness, and we have a lot of busted brackets
Already.
Thanks to Duquesne bouncing BYU in the first round.
My bracket's gone.
So condolences to all the Ute and Aggie fans who held their nose and picked the Cougars, and sorry to all the BYU fans.
Right, no kidding.
For their
It
loss.
was a rough morning.
Welcome to Herrimanology. I'm John LaFollette, Communications Manager for Herriman City, joined today by Mayor Palmer. How are you doing?
Good to be here. Been a week.
It has been a week.
But
let's be real. We announced a few things on social media that we've talked about on this podcast before, and we've talked about in city council meetings before, but some people are hearing about some new rules, if you will, for the first time. So we want to address a couple of those. Let's start with the increase for the illegal parking fine that is across the city, citywide, from $25 to $100.
Right.
Some people have felt that that's a big jump, and it's we've heard a lot of concerns. We won't go through all of them, but what are some of your thoughts you have after kind of hearing some feedback this week?
You know, it's interesting because KUTV ran the one story this week, and I think the resident they interviewed really summed up what our intent was. His thoughts were, this seems excessive, but he also said, I think this will change things. He says, I think this will change. So I think that's what we're after. In talking to our police department, just a couple of things they noted is still, this is really truly just complaint driven still. We still don't have officers just driving around just checking parking. We just don't. We don't have that capacity. It's still complaint driven. It's still going to be focused primarily around Blackridge Reservoir, like we've talked, and then around events like at the RSL, facility. So it's still complaint driven. We heard it talked about, that the multifamily housing is being attacked. Cities approved this without parking. Like those, most of those are in HOAs and they're not affected by this. So really it's that. And then the last thing I kind of really want to, say about it is, really you and I talked about this off the air a little bit. It was complicated before. It was $25 and then it increased within 5 days and it increased. So really this is actually just a simplification too. So really it's just, this isn't a money grab. We won't get any more money from this at all as a city. It still won't cover our expenses to even prosecute a parking fine. So we're just looking for compliance.
Yeah. The city gets farther along the process before it starts losing money prosecuting it and processing it.
Right.
The city's not going to be making a huge profit off this. And we ideally, I'll even quote, without saying their name, one of our police officers who said, ideally, we don't get any of the money and people just park safely, park legally, and we don't deal with parking tickets. That would be the ideal situation.
100%. Yep.
With Blackridge Reservoir, the city is introducing a new $15 parking fee only for weekends and holidays.
Yep.
At the Blackridge Reservoir parking lot.
Right.
And really, anytime you start charging money for something that used to be free, you're going to get some pushback. And we've seen that this week too.
And I think this has been one of the hardest decisions we've made as a council. It was not easy. I mean, we've heard people say this was a lazy way out. We had pages of options, pages of different directions we could go. Every option had a pro and a con list. There was not any option that didn't have cons. And I'm not saying this decision we made to go this direction doesn't have some cons. It does, absolutely does. This is not easy. This is not, this was not a decision we arrived to lightly. But at the end of the day, there were too many people on the weekends, and it was becoming an enforcement nightmare. It was becoming a safety concern out there. We had to take steps to do something. we heard people say, well, Herriman residents shouldn't have to pay. Like that's, at the end of the day, that still doesn't solve. The problem we were trying to solve wasn't to make money. This isn't about making money. That's not what we were trying to solve as a revenue generation option. This was, there are too many people at an amenity that's probably in the wrong location. Just fact of the matter, it's probably a great amenity in the wrong location, and there's just too many people enjoying it. Unfortunately, it's just unfortunate, but that's what we had to that was the problem we were trying to solve. And so we'll evaluate. This is 1 year. We're not beholden to this. We want to see if this solves the parking problem, the overcrowding issue. And if it doesn't, we'll come back again next year and have the same conversation we've had for 4 years or longer again. So, but we're just hoping it solves that overcrowding issue.
And to anybody who's wondering, can I just park for free on the streets around the reservoir? The answer is no.
Right.
For the last 7-8 years, there's been a permit-only parking zone around Blackridge Reservoir on the public streets. And remember, the illegal parking fine has been increased. So if you're found parking there without a permit, that fine is now $100. So really, if you're coming and the parking lot's full, just try again another day.
Right.
Really.
Come during the week, because during the week is less busy. And I will say the other comment I do want to iterate is we have got a lot of mountain biking kids in this community, a big mountain biking trail community. This doubles as a trailhead, which made this decision even harder. And that was part of the reason we decided to keep it no charge through the week, is so we're hoping a lot of that use, the trailhead use, can be enjoyed during the week as much as possible when the kids are practicing. And hopefully on the weekends, those groups can move to the other trailheads. But we really wanted to be careful to protect the trailhead use.
Yeah. Let's move on to a new topic. It's construction season. So first, for local projects, you can go to herriman.org/construction projects for any updates there. But we wanted to highlight the 2 UDOT projects that the city has nothing to do with.
Right. Right.
So if you have issues, talk to UDOT. Try to pass the buck, but
we can't
do anything about it. So the first one, let's talk about Bangerter and 134th South intersection. That is in progress. If you have driven around that area, everything has shifted. It's going to continue to shift, but they're working on making a freeway style interchange there.
Right.
Or an overpass, underpass, depending how you want to term it.
Right.
So they'll get rid of the stoplight, but it's going to be a headache. Eventually, they will close the road for about 300 days.
Yep, this fall. Yep.
So it's going to be a headache. Sorry.
Yep.
But it's going to be nice.
And one factor tied with that is they've set up a construction area between the frontage roads on Mountain View currently, between 126th to 134th there in that area. That's kind of a laydown area for their construction projects. So we've already kind of seen some impacts there, trucks pulling on and off. So be careful in that area. They just needed that area for construction support for that project. So.
And it's mostly storage and staging, but there is going to be some noise there too. So if you live around there, sorry, in UDOT's behalf, but that's just kind of how the situation is. It does save UDOT and ultimately all the taxpayers' money to have a storage site so close to that project on UDOT-owned property.
Absolutely. Yep.
The other one, Mountain View Corridor. Mm-hmm. This one won't really have any traffic impacts during construction, but the freeway section from the south end of Herriman, Porter Rockwell Boulevard, stretching through Camp Williams and into Utah County is starting now. They have started already this week. Started
that, and I think we're here in a 2-year project, and so hopefully within a couple of years, that whole stretch will be open now. So you don't have to get over to Redwood. If you're going south, you could stay south on Mountain View all the way down to Eagle Mountain into Saratoga Springs. So that'll be big, and then hopefully right after that, they're going to come through and start the freeway project north of that. So
exciting things coming up. UDOT has bumped up those projects in timing and priority because they've recognized the growth in this area. So,
and as a council, we fought to put that on the radar to say, look at what's going on. We need help.
And it worked.
Yep.
Let's get to no dumb questions really quick. Springtime, a lot of people are thinking about Easter egg hunts. So Myra had asked, and several other people too, but we'll highlight Myra here, had asked, is the city not doing an Easter egg event this year? Because I haven't seen anything advertised.
Right. And unfortunately, this is our first year. We've moved away from it. We haven't done the actual egg hunt in a couple of years. We tried it during a different iteration during COVID, a basket pickup. It became one of those things where we were serving very few residents, 150, 250 kids. And a lot of those residents were actually coming from outside the city. So it became an expensive, event that wasn't benefiting a lot of Herriman residents. So we opted to move away from that and kind of put those resources just in other events.
And last thing here, again, with warmer weather, people are going to start knocking on your door.
Yep.
And to some extent, they're allowed to. We're talking salesmen. Door-to-door solicitation is legal in the city when they have a solicitor's permit through the city.
Correct.
And first off, this doesn't apply to Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts or religious or things like that. But if people are selling things door to door, they need to have a permit, and you can ask for that.
You can. So they will come to the city and ask for a permit. So I think we'll flash it on the screen, probably show what it looks like. So you have to come to the city, request this permit. And if somebody knocks on my door, I still need to get a no soliciting sign myself. But if you look at this here, they have to come get this permit. We do a background check. They have to get this permit. The first thing I ask them is, do you have a permit? If they have a permit, sometimes I'll listen to them, just because I don't have the no soliciting sign up yet. But one, they have to have that permit, and two, they have to abide by the no soliciting sign. So you can make a complaint through code enforcement. There's even a website you can go on. You can go to Herriman.org, report an issue, and fill out your scene. Especially if you know the company, you can bring that up to us, and we can try to. It is hard because they move on. They knock and usually move on and don't hit that area again. But we are trying to keep it to a minimum.
Right.
But it's out there, and make sure you watch for that permit.
And please be kind too. Not all these door-to-door salespeople know about the code. Some companies are really good about having all their people come in and get permitted. Some of them aren't. So be kind when you educate them about the city's code.
Right.
But yes, they do have to abide by the no soliciting signs, and they have to be permitted.
Yep.
So that's all for this week. It was pretty quick. If you have any questions, by the way, if you're listening on the audio side and you didn't see the screen,
Good point.
Basically, a white card. It has an orange bar that says solicitor permit. It has their photo. It has the city's logo, Herriman City permit number, their name, their company's address, all that sort of stuff. So,
Right.
Sorry we didn't cover that a second ago, but
Absolutely.
Anyway, so now that's everything for this week. Thank you, Mayor Palmer, for joining.
Appreciate it.
And thank you for listening or watching, and we'll catch you next time.